Lindokuhle, very good morning to you. So the verdict is out. What happened in court?
Well, good morning, Brother. And indeed, as you rightfully said in your intro, the Constitutional Court, the highest court in the land, has declared the Electoral Act as being unconstitutional. They did say that based on this Chapter 2, subsection 19, that it does indeed provide that individuals can, in fact, stand for elections, particularly adults. And they're saying that, in fact, there is a choice that you can make as an individual, and that choice entails not being affiliated to any political party. But I am joined by the New Nation movement, which of course has been at the forefront of fighting this. Just take us through your reactions to the judgment today.
I think from about the 10th minute, I realized already. From there, I could see that the judge is going to walk all over, the respondents. It was absolutely clear that this judgment was going to go our way, and so therefore we are ecstatic and excited, not for ourselves, because finally it is proven that an individual in this country who's an adult individual has the right to stand, and to be chosen and to be elected into political office. It was just unthinkable that the Electoral Act would bar adult individuals, from holding political office.
There were clearly celebrations from many of you, yes, who were behind this particular court bid. And the question then is, why is it important for South Africans out there to take this as a positive moving forward in our democratic society, as far as you guys understand?
South Africans has been given some of the weakest and the most corrupt leaders up to this point, and for that reason this is critical, that democracy ultimately wins, because now finally individuals in this country will have an opportunity to stand and to keep those that they have elected accountable. These guys that we currently have in parliament and in political offices all across the land, these guys are simply a law unto themselves. They are not accountable to the people, and this is what this judgment does. It brings accountability back, and it gives democracy, the heads up. We will never be, under under the mess that we are currently in. Finally, we have an opportunity to rid South Africa of incompetence and corruption.
All right, I'll leave it at that and try to get more reactions from outer at this stage. It seems that everyone is smiling, can even see it through their mask, that indeed it is a happy time for many of them. But outer also was one of those organizations that threw their weight behind this particular court bid. Just take us through your reaction, seeing that finally through the High Court saying that, in fact, dismissing the case, and now the Constitutional Court indeed saying that the Electoral Act is unconstitutional. Just tell us your reactions around that.
As a civil activist organization, we are obviously ecstatic because it is all about, the constitutional rights, which is extremely important, but also the accountability of individuals, so that we can move forward in our democratic South Africa and holding people to account. We've just seen state capture, the amount of money that was lost because people are not being held accountable. So this, we believe, hooray, is really, really a step in the right direction. And as ALTA, we are, humbled by the fact that the Concord also mentioned the fact that they appreciate the input that we've given. So kudos to the applicants. It's gone a long way in fighting this matter. But yes, as a civil activist organization, we are ecstatic.
And speaking about the applicants, one of the things that they did say was that they are trying to achieve accountability in terms of the constituencies and some of the leaders. But looking at this, maybe the next person listening to this might not necessarily understand how that can be achieved. But just take us through your beliefs in breaking the middleman and ensuring that there is accountability to the constituencies of the country.
In other words, when you vote for a party, you don't necessarily have the power to, when a party appoints or elect someone to be in the National Assembly, you may like the principles of the party but not necessarily the person. But when you choose an independent person, that person is working for, so because the next time, if he's not doing what you as elected him for to do, you're not going to elect him again. So people will, in other words, instead of going what a party tells you to do, you will hopefully look after the people that voted for you. So those principles are important to you, and there comes the accountability. So it's hopefully it will allow for people to vote for someone that stands for exactly the same principles, but will also look after their rights and the reason they voted for the person.
Thank you so much. That is Outer giving also their reaction, definitely saying that it is indeed a good time, a happy time for South Africans, because of this will ensure accountability. But of course, the justice there basically taking us through the fact that in the provisions of the Constitution, it was already written that in fact adults can stand, but the interpretation of that just needed to be further. And what he said is that he cannot necessarily be stingy with interpreting that in a sense, and said that he needs to be generous in interpreting that to ensure that all South Africans are catered for, particularly because it is written down in our Constitution. We are seeing that there are political leaders as well. Musi Maimane is also here, as well as Musi Likota, the leaders of different organizations and political parties. And obviously at a later stage, I'm very tempted to take my camera and go down there to get their reactions. But then you'll let me know if I have that time.
At this stage, you go down there, make contact with them, Lindokuhle Xulu. After all, it is a landmark judgment, and we'll continue here in the studio because there's going to be lots of reaction and analysis, of course, of this landmark ruling. For now, we'll leave it here. Thank you very much, Lindokuhle Xulu. Inside Concord, after making that landmark decision about the Electoral Act being unconstitutional, the future looks like individuals can be able to stand for election either for national or provincial legislatures. We'll have to wait and see.